You don't want the life for you to kick it. You don't want the life for you to get it. Yeah, I know I told you that I miss you, but I don't miss you, I just miss the fucking dick. What we do ain't nobody business. Should've known from the rip I was with it. Promise you won't get in your feelings, but I don't miss you, I just need a quick fix. You used to love me, then you lied to me. Said to stop calling, but that's history. It's been 18 weeks since we've been in them sheets. Not that I'm counting, but I'm starting to feel. You know what I need, so just give me the thing.
Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of The Balance. We've been gone for a little bit, but we are back. Before I begin, I just want to say again, thank you for tuning in and keeping up with the show all of this time. We're over a year in at this point, and I just want to thank everyone so much, from their retweets to the listens to telling their friends. I just ask that you keep doing it and help me reach even greater heights than we already have. So we have a really good show for you today, but I want to start the show off by saying this episode is dedicated to Nipsey Hussle, and we all know that he unfortunately passed away after being gunned down at his store, The Marathon. So I wanted to dedicate this episode to him. So what's on the agenda for today? So many things. So I have an interview with y'all. So I found this really dope web series and I watched it because I'm not going to bring someone on the show and have them speak if I'm not really feeling what they're about. And so I watched the web series. It's amazing. I love the production. It's very relatable. And so I'm going to speak with the creator and actress starring in it a little bit later on in the show. And we're also going to talk about, of course, all the hot topics. And then we're going to touch on a few things that are in the news. All right, let's jump in. Hey everyone, I'm here with Atia from Pure the Series, the web series that I told you guys about earlier. How are you doing today, girl?
I am doing so very great, thank you. How are you?
I am doing pretty good. So we're going to just jump on in. So what was your inspiration for your show?
Okay, so I have three sources of inspiration, and the first one stems from a conversation that I had with my father. I remember I was in the car on my way back from a road trip, and I was so frustrated because I felt like I had so much to say about certain things. For instance, I'm an animal activist, so I always felt like I wanted to become an actress, and the reason why I wanted to be an actress was to be able to have a platform to be able to raise awareness on animal activism. And to just help people expand their compassion towards animals, at least if anything. And I feel like there were so many celebrities that I looked up to out there that were able to just be themselves, like unapologetically, and just say whatever the heck they wanted to say. And my dad helped me realize that if I was to use my creativity to spread my word and to help spread the awareness, then that might be a more receivable option as opposed to just being like really radical online and like hoping everybody joins my compassion bandwagon, you know?
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, okay, well, I have a story I can tell. I have a lot of stories in my life that I can share creatively. So why not infuse my story and then the things that I really want to portray to others? And so, yeah, that was the first source of inspiration. The second source was heartbreak, actually, which is like a big theme of Pure. But I really wrote Pure for healing purposes. I wrote Pure because I needed clarity, and I really needed to take a step back and kind of look from a bird's eye view of what the situation was, and it really helped me learn a lot about myself and just about how I need to boost my self-esteem a little bit.
Oh no, we all struggle. Go ahead.
Oh my goodness, yes. And then imagine watching your life unfold on camera. You're like, oh girl, why'd I do that? And then my last source was really like I said, I wanted to be an actress originally to be able to have a platform to speak on things that I wanted to raise awareness about, such as animal cruelty or animal advocacy. But I was going out for these roles, and I moved to Atlanta in 2016. And I know that in Atlanta, in order to like really make it, I feel like it's really beautiful to have an agent. But for some reason, I couldn't get an agent. I wasn't even applying for lead roles. I was always applying for supporting roles. And I'm like, if I'm not booking the things that I want to book and I'm not getting the agent that I want to get, then why not literally create the lead role that I want and I'm too scared to apply for? So I literally created the role that I wanted. And yeah, that was really the inspiration. The inspiration was just to be able to have faith and courage in myself and to be able to help others have faith and courage in themselves. So those are like the three main sources of inspiration.
Got you. And that's really interesting, the advice that your dad gave you. I love that he gave you a way to use your already present creativity with your passion, you know, for animal rights. I love that.
Definitely. Thank you.
You're welcome. I love that. I'm also an animal rights activist, so yay. Like,
oh my goodness.
Yeah. So yeah, I love that. And And also something else that I really liked when I was listening to your answer was the fact that you decided to take charge of your life and your creativity and your passion. You aren't relying on someone else. Like you're creating, you're creating your own space. So I thought that
Yeah.
was, yeah, I thought that was really good. So yeah, just talking more about the show, how would you describe the characters?
I would describe these characters as your average but not so average young adults.
Mhm.
So I tried to well, Pure is based off of a true story, so it's an 85% true story
Mhm.
on my love life or of my life in general. And I feel like each character is very relatable. Everybody in the story has at least one issue that someone else who's watching the show has, whether it be anxiety or depression or an insecurity or just low self-esteem. But we also have like great qualities in the show. Like we have a large sense of humor. We're very snarky. We're like basically the friends that you always wanted, the friends that you know that you need, and like you kind of either have spent your whole life looking for. Like even when I met my friends in real life, I remember telling my mom, like, I found my tribe. Like this is my tribe. So I feel like the people in the story are very extremely relatable, and they're like your average, like I said, not so average young adults, because we're very vocal and we're very self-aware, which I feel like is something that sometimes kind of lacks in our generation. So it's cool to see that side of the young adulthood. But you see us struggling, but we're also just trying to make it.
Yeah, I like that. And so, like, kind of like you were saying, like, it is relatable to, like, the normal, like, person our age. And so that's something that really drew me to it when I was watching it. So just thinking about, that comparative nature, is there a show that you would compare it to?
Oh my God. Okay. So it was actually inspired by, or the writing style. And even if you realize we have some camera looks, which is like breaking, I guess, one of like the filmmaker's rules or something, but I like to break rules. So when you look directly into the camera, they say that's not a good thing. But I have a lot of those shots in my series, and it's all thanks to The Office, featuring, I forgot who the main character is in Office. That's so bad.
You're good.
Insecure, which is another one of my favorites. And then even before Insecure, Issa Rae had also wrote, I believe it's Diary of an Awkward Black Girl, the Misadventures of an Awkward Black Girl.
Yes.
So that's really, she actually, it was my inspiration in being able to know that I could film Pure myself, I can write Pure myself, I can cast Pure. Like she really gave me the confidence, like subliminally, to do this project. So I would definitely say that those are the top 3 shows that I've really been inspired by, or that can remind you of Pure.
Yeah, I was just thinking as you were saying it, like I was like, I bet she's gonna say Insecure, because like I just got the vibes from it. Like it just that, and I think that's what I love so much about it, because Insecure itself is also really relatable and just it just is real and authentic, and that comes across as well in your show, and I really love that. What would
Thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome. What would you say is the most rewarding part of your work?
Oh my gosh. I feel like the most rewarding part, well, two of them. The first one would be just to know the amount of courage that it took to be able to produce Pure. There were a lot of things that tried to stand in my way, and I'm very proud of the fact that I persevered and I pushed through the turmoil. And even having the courage to tell my story. I mean, I could have been judged by so many people, and I probably am, but like, who cares? It gave me the courage to not to care. And I'm trying to think. I think the other part is really being able to give people, or my cast, a chance. Like a lot of the people that were in Pure, whether it be they were just kind of nervous to start off their acting career, or just weren't given a chance because of whatever it may be, like height or acting experience or whatever the case may be. And I feel like that made Pure so much more real and raw, though. Like we became a family on set, so we weren't acting like we were friends. We were genuinely friends, and we genuinely had that connection, So I think that was really one of the most rewarding parts, is being able to give everyone the safe space to be themselves. It's like have the acting career that they want to have, or at least start it off with Pure, and to be able to see themselves in a light that it's like, wow, I'm talented, Because I feel like a lot of people get slept on, whether it be because of their looks or because of their age, or like I said, because of their height, which is a weird thing, I know. So yeah, it was just really cool to be able to give people a chance and see them shine and just do their own thing and just just be so drawn into the character. They were asking me questions like, okay, so how would this person react to this? Or would they be on their phone? Or, would they be more chill? And they were so into the characters. I appreciate it as a writer. So those are the most rewarding parts.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I like that. I like that you're breaking the mold, because we're tired of seeing the same old, like you were saying with height or how someone looks. Like, we're tired of the conventional things. Yes, we want actual diversity, not it just to be like a boilerplate thing that people throw out. Like, we want actual, diversity. So I really admire that part that you were speaking about. So what would you say is perhaps the most difficult part of your work?
Oh God, this is gonna sound kind of odd, but lighting and sound, like that was the most frustrating part throughout this entire process. I swear, like anytime we had to change scenes and I knew I had to change up the lighting, it was like, all right guys, give me like 30 minutes, because like this is gonna take a while. You have to make sure there's not a shadow behind someone, and then you have to make sure that you're beating the light outside. So if you're doing a day shoot, you want to make sure that you finish shooting that by around 5 before the lighting starts to change. It's very exhausting. But yeah, believe it or not, that's probably one of the hardest parts. And the other part is actually the opposite of your last question, which is having to tap into that like really honest and authentic part within. Originally, I had wrote a version of Pure the series, and I remember I showed my mom the series, and we read it through together, and she was like, it's beautiful, but you're missing this, you're missing this person, how'd you forget about this friend and this situation, and like dig deep and just have the curtain. So it took me a second to really realize, like, if I'm going to tell the story, I got to tell the whole story. So that was probably one of the difficult parts for me. But once I did it, it seemed like the easiest part. So.
Gotcha. Yeah. I mean, vulnerability can be hard. So,
yes.
Like, I totally get that. And I also get what you're saying about, like, the sound and lighting. And from the episodes that I've watched, the sound was great. Like,
oh, thank you.
Yes. Like, I was like, oh, like, I don't have to turn up my MacBook. Like, oh, yes. Like, I can hear this on, like, this little notch. Like, I'm feeling it. So, yeah, like, I appreciate the hard work that you put into it, and you can tell, like, with the lighting, I can definitely tell. So yeah,
thank you so much.
Yes, you're welcome. I just want to give you your props. Like, you deserve it.
I'll pat myself on the back too.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes. So just thinking about your series, you were saying how y'all all come together and there's like this friendship and everything like that. Are you open to additional actors or actresses appearing on your show?
Oh my goodness, of course. Well, actually, this is like an insider, but I'm working on Pure 2.
Okay.
So that should be coming out. Yeah, we're going to probably start pre-production this summer. So yeah, I have a lot of new characters that are added. I'm actually really, really looking forward to the casting process. I've had people reach out to me, though, since Pure first aired, or even when they knew that we were kind of wrapping up on production and they want to just kind of hop on for the next season. I'm like, send your stuff over. I give them the email address. Just like their headshot. But it was interesting to me to see. There were some people who would DM me, and I would tell them what they have to do. Send me your reel, your headshot, or even tell them to send me a recorded monologue, because I know when you're an actor or an actress and you're just starting out, or even if you've been working for a while but you're just having a hard time getting your reel footage, not everybody has a reel. And there are some really talented people out there without an actor's reel. So I said, you can do a pre-recorded monologue, but I guess I'll do a statistic of like 10 people reached out to me. Only about 4 people actually sent that email. But it was really beautiful to me, because I'm like, those are the 4 people who really want it, I don't want the people who are going to say, oh, that's too much work, I'm not going to do it. Like, I want the people who immediately after I DM them back, send me that email. Like, hey, girl, I'm here, check me out. So to answer your question, yes, I would definitely be open to adding some new characters.
Awesome. And so... yeah. Just kind of something, you just kind of tapped into it a little bit about Pure 2. So is that the only project that you see yourself developing in the near future, or are there some other things?
Oh my God, I currently have, besides Pure, 4 completed scripts in my laptop. So at this point, I just wish that I could like clone myself and have at least like 10 more of me, and we can get these productions rolling. Yeah. And now it's really just to the point of figuring out if I want to do my smaller projects first, and then really truly focus on the larger ones, or just spend my time doing larger ones, or multitask. It's like so many options. But I definitely have a lot of projects I'm excited about. One being Pure 2. I have another documentary coming out that showcases like the inside of the mind of the Black man, which I feel like a lot of us like forget about or are too scared to like inquire about. So I did a black men's documentary. It doesn't have an official name yet. That's the title I've been giving it. But yeah, I'm trying to tap into doing short films, more web series, and then also documentaries, which I think is going to end up being another passion of mine. So
awesome. That's interesting. Like that.
thank
You're welcome. And it just, again, like, speaks, like, I'm over here gassing you up, but for real, like, it speaks to, like, your talent. Like, you have all these, like, diverse projects that you're working on, from the web series to documentaries. So, like, that is awesome. Like,
thank you so much.
you're welcome. And so, just kind of wrapping it up, like, how long has the show been running?
The show has been running since June 2018.
Okay.
Yes.
So, roughly about a year.
Yes.
Okay, cool.
We're coming up on the anniversary soon.
Yes, awesome. So yeah, just for the listeners, just give them all the details and information, like your social media and just how they can watch the show.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so if you want to watch Pure the series, there are 3 ways you can watch it. One, you can go on our Instagram, which is Pure, Pure, the series official. That's our Instagram. You can click the link in our bio, or you can go to loveatia.com, and then you can press a little Pure the series link at the top, and that'll lead you to our YouTube. Or you can go to our YouTube page and type in Pure the series, and you're going to see my face, which you might not know what it looks like. But you're going to see a girl with an afro, 2 guys sitting next to her, and then me holding a sunflower. So, and the sunflower represents purity. So the sunflower is kind of a running theme throughout Pure. So yeah, that's how you can follow us and watch it. Please subscribe. We have a goal of getting 1,000 subscribers. That's my goal, and I'm sticking to it. So that's what we're focusing on right now.
Exactly. So yes, y'all heard her. Go check it out. I promise it's worth it. I promise y'all. And make sure that you subscribe, because as she said, that's important, and that's her goal, and we're going to make it happen. So yes. Yes. So I want to thank you so much for appearing on the show today.
Oh my gosh, thank you. No, seriously, you like made my day. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. So all right, guys, we're going to take a break, and then we'll be right back. Hey everyone, we're back. So I have a bunch of kind of different things, little things that I wanted to tackle this week. So the first thing I want to tackle, I was reading an article in Huffington Post, and it talked about how the children who were separated from their families, how the kids are depressed, they're withdrawn, and they were self-harming while held in detention, and even now. And it goes back to the theme of words matter. And people think you can say any little thing, and they have that whole, sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me, or whatever idiom that you learn as a child. That is incorrect. Words do matter. Trump's words and hateful language helped propelled him into the office. His words and hurtful language are what influences his policies and his decisions, because words come from the mind. Words are formulations of your thoughts. They matter because those thoughts that go into words go into actions. And now there are kids out here who not only had to deal with being separated from their families, and by the way, 200 kids are still separated from their families now because of Trump, because he deported those families, those parents, back to dangerous situations. But for the kids, in general, who are suffering from these types of things, these mental health issues, they have to deal with the time they are separated from their family, which is already traumatic enough, but then being held in the detention center and the conditions that they were held in, and all the things that manifest from that. Like, that's so much deal with. That's so much trauma for no reason. It's trauma due to hate. Okay? And, it's all about Trump's zero tolerance policies. Zero tolerance policies are a joke. Zero tolerance policies are not here to help anyone. They're here to hinder and most likely disadvantage groups. His zero tolerance policy, who does it hurt? It hurts those involved in immigration. So Latinx, Latinos, Latinas, things like that. Zero tolerance policy in schools, they hurt kids, urban kids, black kids, also Hispanic and Latino kids. I just had to get that off. I'm gonna stop now because I'm getting a little angry. Another thing that has me angry is that New York City, they have declared a public health emergency because of an outbreak of measles. They are smartly mandating vaccinations. And it goes back to what I said in my previous episode. It is of ignorance that you do not want your child to be vaccinated. Your fear of autism, by the way, like that's again, like I said, it's ableist. It's ableist. You wouldn't want someone to be racist. You wouldn't want to be sexist, and you're being ableist by not, by falsely not getting your child, vaccinations under the false idea that they'll have autism. And one thing that my goal on the show is to highlight more about disabilities and give them the platform and advocacy that they need. And again, like, it's trash if that you want a perfect child and you can't handle having a non-perfect child. It's not like getting them vaccinations is putting them at risk of actual death. And people want to point to this research that they're collecting. And the thing about research, and this applies to so many different things, not just this vaccination, but it applies to the so-called research about that doctor with the whole Nipsey Hussle conspiracies and all these different things. Where y'all, like, you can find so many different things on the internet and you can spend so many hours reading it and then call it research, but is it wholly valid? Who's paying for it? That's another thing. Who's paying for these things? Like, who is backing this research? Because it can be biased. Like, where are your sources? Always remember that type of thing. You have to make sure it's coming from unbiased parties. You have to make sure that it's coming from legitimate work, legitimate scientific research. Okay, so be careful what you call research and be careful what you spread to others. That's very important. So yeah, it's ridiculous. Vaccinate your kids, because not only are you putting your kids at risk, but you're putting other people at risk, and that's not fair to anyone involved. And I just feel like people are just making so many bad decisions these days, and I need y'all to get it together. So anyway, moving on kind of into celebrity news. So Lori Loughlin, aka Aunt Becky on Full House, has been indicted on more charges, and I can say that I'm very glad, and I really hope that she has to serve time. Why? Privilege. And not just because of what she did, because of course you want your kids to have good education and things like that, but what I'm more angry about is that too. Don't get me wrong, because you're taking the place of white people who deserve to be there, and it kills me because people assert that black people can't be in spaces without affirmative action, which is false. Again, benefits white women more than anyone else, and black people absolutely are smart, worthy, and capable of being in the positions, school, all that they're in. But anyway, what makes me more mad is the fact that she was out here, and when she showed up to court, taking pictures, smiling, waving, and signing autographs. Like, you don't take it seriously. When black people or brown people interact with the criminal justice system, it's pins and needles. It's life or death. But that privilege that she has right there, that she was showing, it's just like a spit in the face, and it's so disrespectful, not only to the law, which I'm not necessarily concerned about, but to others. Because again, like I was saying, think about the interactions like in the court systems like that we have. Small things can take someone away from their families and disrupt whole neighborhoods for years over nothing. We don't have that luxury, that privilege that we can just walk into the court smiling, doing all like, no, it's totally different for us. So hopefully she serves time. So anyway, another thing I wanted to mention is Boosie was arrested on drug and gun charges. And I'm just like, dang, like, it feels like he just got out, but apparently he's been out since 2014. But, I just, again, make smart choices, people. So yeah, there's that. I want to talk about Nipsey Hussle really quick, and the idea, people want to fight back against the idea of toxic masculinity being the cause for it. Let me say that masculinity at its core is not necessarily toxic, but the levels to which this person did, it exemplifies toxic masculinity. When it becomes harmful, when your masculinity becomes so core to your identity that you perpetrate harm against others, that's when it's toxic. Okay, why did he, from what I read, the initial reports, allegedly him and Nipsey, he was known as a snitch, and there might have been an issue between him and Nipsey because of that. Okay, because he went home allegedly, got a gun, came back, and then shot him and all this, that, and the third. And not even just relating into this situation, but from my research that I've been collecting as a part of my sociology project, people, they have to retaliate when they're shamed, or if they lose a fight, they have to come back with more violence. They have to come back to prove themselves, and that is a part of toxic masculinity. And not to blame black men, because toxic masculinity has its roots in patriarchy. It has its counter narratives to, you know, white normativity. It's just all these different things, you know, but you cannot dismiss it as toxic masculinity. And again, I want to make clear that not all masculinity, not in all forms, is not toxic inherently. It can be taken to levels that make it toxic. Again, but actually do actual research, not like, you know, your Googles and you find something from, you know, black males are treated wrong.com. Like, no, actual research. But another thing I wanted to talk about, kind of related to masculinity, is the sense that, you know, everybody's all mad at Kodak Black for what his comments about wanting to get with Lauren London and giving her a year to grieve before he makes his move. First of all, Lauren London would never want his ugly, ranky, big toe looking self. But beyond that, you know, everybody's all up in arms, and it's because, is it necessarily because you feel like he disrespected her as a woman, or he disrespected her as Nipsey's woman? You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the thing. It's not arguing on behalf of black women. It's rooted in patriarchy and seeing the woman as property. She's Nipsey's property. Like, that's what got y'all angry. Because if not, y'all would have been mad at Kodak Black. Y'all wouldn't have been messing with him. He's allegedly a rapist, and I have to use the words allegedly because of the purposes of this podcast and it being promoted nationwide and abroad. So again, you're not caring about black women. You're caring about black women in relation to yourself, and that's not what we need as a community. And that's something that's important. And it's just like, if, you know, black men sat down, black women sat down and actually heard each other and exchanged real meaningful dialogue conversations with ears fully listening and not going in and out the other, like actually actively listening and not just waiting to counter what someone's saying, we could achieve so much. The black community is divided in so many ways. And again, it has roots like slavery when it comes to colorism, all these different things. But, and this regards to also the shooting and how the hood works, I get it, all these complex things and these structural systematic things, but at the end of the day, with all of it, we have to rise above. Why are we letting ourselves continuously fall into the cycle? Because again, there are people who come from the hood who never gangbang, who never robbed, who never did this. It's also about choice. There is some agency. Is there much? I cannot say. I'm lucky enough to not have to be in that position, but there is a such thing as agency, and there is some, and we need to start choosing better. And so that just kind of wraps up what I wanted to say in terms of Nipsey and what he can teach, and what we can all think about is find your purpose and live it. Life is too short, and not even, you just never know what can happen. Life is too short to be miserable. Again, I think I said in my last podcast, but I want to say it again. A colleague of mine talked about when she gets to heaven, she wants to have a list of all the things she's done, and not talking about good or bad, but things she's did in her life that had fun, that had meaning, that created memories. Do that. Have that. Find your purpose. Live it. Live it loudly. And so I'm going to end the show on a great note. Beyonce and Netflix are producing a documentary based off of Coachella, aka Beachella, and it will air next week on Wednesday, April 17th. For Eastern Standard Time, folks, that's at 3 a.m. and for Pacific time, that's at 12 a.m. So set your clocks. You gotta watch. You know the timeline is gonna be jumping. So anyway, I want to thank Kels Blanco for letting me use her music. I want to thank Atia for appearing on the show. I want you all to, again, please tell your friends. Help me promote, all of that. Keep listening. Make sure you subscribe. Get your friends to subscribe. All of that. I love you guys. Thank you so much. Bye.